Hello, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how we can calculate the histogram and how we can find an optimal value by looking at the histogram of an image and apply it to binarize an image. So this is what actually I want to achieve: calculate the histogram, and this one gives us an idea which will be the best optimal threshold value, and then I can go to this binarization and I want to binarize it, and from here I am going to select binarization value, apply it, so it helped me to identify the optimal threshold value. So let's see how we can do that. I created a Windows Forms application and I configured it to use Emgu CV 4.2. You can check one of my previous videos, video number 34. So let me go to this process menu and add a submenu item and just name it histogram. And I can create another submenu item, calculate. So double click on this calculate. And here I am going to write the code. So the first thing that I will do is to add a try catch block, and if there is an exception I can catch it. So message box message, and here I will make sure that I have at least an image in my picture box. So picture box one.image, if equals null, then I just do nothing, I return. So once I make sure that there is an image, I can read it into a variable. I call it variable image, and I'm going to create a new bitmap, and as a parameter I'm going to pass my picture from the picture box dot image. And since I need it in the form of an EmguCV structure, so I just use to image. And since I'm interested in the histogram and I'm just trying to work with one channel image, so I just convert it into a gray image, and then I need to store the histogram, so I will create a mate variable. I call it hist is equal to new mate. So this is where I want to write the histogram. And also there is a function calc histogram which requires few parameters. So I will be creating some parameters. For example, the float of array, and I call it ranges, is equal to new float. And here I can write the ranges from between 0 and 256. The values can be like this. And how many channels do we have? So we have to mention them in the form of an integer array. So I can set it like initialize it to 0. It means the channel number. I have only one channel. So if you have more, then we can comma 1, 2, 3, we can write them. And also we can write the what is the size of my histogram. So I write it by size here, mean the bin size that for each channel. So since I have only one channel, 0 channel, so I have the number of bins that I am considering is 256. So this range should be between 0 and 255. Then it will make totally 256. Okay, so these parameters are needed for my histogram. And also to calculate the histogram, the cv_invoke.calcHist method requires a vector of matrices. So I will need to create the vector of mate. I can say matrices is equal to new vector of mates, and then I can push the image that I want the histogram of. So ms.push, and here I am going to push img. Okay, so these are basically the requirements that I fulfilled for calling my method. So now I can call the method cv_invoke.calcHist, and this histogram requires images, that is for which I'm going to calculate the histogram. So this is vector of mates, which consists of only one image, and the list of channels that will be used to compute the histogram. Right now I have created that is 0th channel only, and if there is any mask, I'm not requiring any mask here. I want to calculate the histogram for all the image, and this is where my histogram will be stored, and what will be the size of my histogram. So this is what I am providing histogram size as parameters. So I have 26 bins each in each dimension. Array of the dimensions, that is bin boundaries in each histogram. So I say this is between 0 and 255. So I can provide ranges. And the last, do we need to accumulate it? I mean, if there is any previous histogram, do we need to accumulate with the new? I said, no, I just need to calculate a fresh brand new histogram. So this is what the histogram will give me the hist using all the detailed information. And then I just want to show this histogram, so I can use this built-in histogram viewer, for example, histogram viewer. I can say viewer is equal to new histogram viewer, and this histogram viewer, we can say viewer dot text. I can set it like image histogram, and viewer dot, if you want to show an icon, don't need to show the icon. Okay, you can set other properties also, but I'm just going to use few of them, and then we can use this viewer dot histogram control dot add histogram, and here you can provide the name of the histogram. I can say, you can write any string, it doesn't matter, and what color you want to do, color dot, let's say blue, and then it is expecting the histogram, so we will pass the hist itself. We go to the next line, and next, what is the bin size? So hist size of 0. So this is the, what is the size of the histogram that I have considered. What is the ranges? So we pass in the ranges that we have created, and that's it. So this one will try to show the histogram, and the viewer, what can I do here is viewer dot histogram control dot refresh, and then we can call this viewer dot show to display the histogram. So let us run it and see the results. Let me open a file, coins, let's say coins, and the histogram, and calculate. So this one will display a histogram viewer. This is the histogram viewer, you can see. So this is the histogram, which can actually help us to find an optimal value. For example, I can see that there are two peaks. One is somewhere here and one is there, the brighter, and maybe these are the darker. And then I can select a value as a threshold somewhere here, and then I can basically apply that threshold to get a binary image. So let us add something for binarization also. And let me, in the utilities, I say binarize. So double click on that binarize, and I already created a parameter. Haris parameter. What kind of parameters did I do? Can I use it for binarization also? I just want to check it. So it has a method. It should be a delegate, and it takes minimum, maximum, and the current. Okay, I guess I can use this same one for my setting the binarization also. So let me do that. Try cage, and it's set as an exception. And if I have an exception, I can show you extra message. And when I click on the binarize, I just want to call this forms method, and when I click on apply, I want to apply that threshold on this image displayed here. So what I need to do right now is I can create a form Harris parameters form, let's say go to new, and I can give a minimum value can be 0, maximum can be 255, and the current, let's say the value is 100 that I'm selecting, and form dot apply on apply, which method will be called. So I'm just going to create that by pressing tab, and I can rename it like apply threshold. So I just copy it and paste it here. So this is the method that I just want to call when I press the button here, so that I can change the threshold values from here. Okay, so I can now show this form dot show as a dialog. Okay, and here what I need to implement the method for binarization, and I can throw new exception. This exception can be got from here, or maybe I can, yes, we can throw that exception from here. So I just need to make sure that I have an image in my image list, which I have already created. Once I read the image, I put it here. So, and its name is input. If it is equals to null, then I cannot do anything. So I need an image. And once I have the image, I can read that image from the list, and just let me write input dot, and I need it in basically a gray format, so I just need to convert it into gray format, and then I can clone it so that original will not change. And now I can apply the threshold on this image, so I call it threshold binary, and here we can select a binary threshold. I call it X, which I will be passing as parameter. And once it is satisfied, then I can replace with 255. And that's it. Now I have the image, and I can show this image. Picture box.image is equal to output dot is bitmap, and I can also optionally add it into my, this is the custom method that I have developed to add into this list. So output dot convert, because I have to convert it into a BGR to store it, and the depth will be bytes. And then I can give a title, for example, thresholding. Okay. This one also needs to be picturebox1.image. So let us see that what it is going to help us to threshold an image. First, I'm going to select the same image, that is the coins, and once I have the coins, I can calculate the histogram, which give me an idea that I can select somewhere here. Okay, and now I can do the binarization. So the binarization suggests that you can select 100 or whatever, and if I apply, you can see that the binarization has selected. If we change these values, like, so more values are being added, so you can see the one that gives you better result, for example this one, or maybe I can, so this one gives a better binarization result also. And if further, if you want to do some processing on this histogram, for example, which values are mostly dominant in my image, or maybe if you want to sort the histogram based on their histogram values. So we can do some further processing on this hist to sort it based on the values of the histogram. So how we can do that? I will be writing sorting the histogram. The first thing that I need to do is to convert it into an array, and so hist.get data. So this one basically will be an array. You can see that this is an array object of type single. I want to cast it into an integer array, so I can write it like, for example, maybe a list or array, whatever you can call it. I can do array.cast, and this is cannot directly cast single into integers. What I'm going to do is I just cast into a single itself, and then I can use the select. And in the select, I'm sending the parameter of the each value of the array, and then I am doing an implicit casting of this value and then converting it back into an array. So this one will, you can see it is now an integer array. So the histogram is now converted into an basically a list of array. And now what I want to do that this array, I want to sort it based on the bit size of the histogram. That is the highest number of pixels which are in the histogram. And so I can create a histogram 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what I want to do, I want to sort this array based on the histogram values. So remember that I also need to keep the index in our mind. For example, how many times 0 occurred, how many times 1. So the best thing could be a dictionary object. So how I can do that is list dot select, and I am passing two parameters, that is v and a j. You can say v is the value and j is the index. And we can create an anonymous type here. So anonymous type means it is basically a class without any name. So the first thing that we will have is the key is the j. So I will be using this index as j. And another thing, that value, and there are two properties which I will be using v. So I just created here, it should be like. So I just created here, it should be inside, not outside. Okay, so I just created a new type without any name, and this one consists of two items, the key and the value. Key is basically my index of my list, and v is basically the value. Now from here, I just want to convert it into a dictionary. So this dictionary, I just call it every object O. So this one will be taking this one as input. So what I need to do is O dot value should be the index for the in dictionary, and sorry, O dot, not the value, it is O dot key. Key will be used as the index, and O dot O dot value will be used as its value. Okay, so this is how I converted my list into a dictionary, where the first item or the value index will be used as the value of the pixel, and this value is basically the count of the histogram. So once I have this one, now I can easily sort it out based on my values. So if I sort the values, then I know that how many times my key or the index has occurred. So what can I do? Variable sorted is equal to dictionary dot sort, or we can say order by descending, for example. If I want to find out the highest number of occurrences first, so we can write x dot. Remember that we are using the value to sort it, how many times it has occurred, and dot to list, for example. For my easiness, I can convert. So sorted list, the first value will be the highest number of uh, the index or the pixel with the highest, and then once you sort it, you can work without whatever you want. For example, I want to select only top 50 or top 10 pixel values, and I just want to show which pixel values are highly repeating, for example. So let's say n is equal to 20, for example. I want to show top 20 pixels which are highly repeating in my image. So what can I do? I can create a list of, let's say, integers. I can select pixels is equal to new list, and I can loop through each element in the sorted list, or I can set through n elements. And then what can I do? Select it dot add, and I'm reading the value from my this sorted. So top 10 elements or top n elements I just want to read. I just this I, and I'm reading them and adding them into my list. Dot key values. So I'm just reading the key values. That is the pixel. And now I want to show, the interesting thing is that this selected basically contains the pixels which are highly repeated. And I just want to show those pixels only. So what can I do here? Interesting thing is variable, or I can create an image. I call it image, and it is a gray image of type bytes, and I call it image 2 is equal to img.convert. I'm using this generic method, and I just want to convert it into bytes, and it takes a delegate is a parameter. So this is the interesting thing, that byte b will be as a parameter, and now I am doing some processing on this byte or every pixel value of my image. Whatever you want to do, we can easily process it inside. So this one is not all code, so we will be processing here. So what I need to do is return what I want to do. If my byte or this pixel value is presented in my selected, then I will show it. Otherwise, I set the values of this image to be 0. So what can I do? Return selected dot contains, if my list contains this pixel. So I first need to cast my every byte into an integer, because my selected is basically an integer. If it contains my b value, then it is a ternary operator, question mark. I will return the b itself. Otherwise, I'll be returning 0. That's it. And also this 0 should be in bytes. You know, the return type here is the byte. So this is an interesting code that I have written, and it is, I use the generic delegate generic conversion function, and as a parameter I am passing the bytes of my gray image. So every pixel is going through it, and I'm performing an operation on it. So I'm just checking if my this pixel is present in the selected ones, then I am just returning that pixel. Otherwise, I'm setting that to 0. And once we do that, we can display this in a picture box. Image is equal to img2 dot name. So let's see the most repeating 20 pixels. Which are those? We can see in the image file. Open an image. So let me open the same image, the coins image, and I calculate the histogram. And you can see that some of these values, the background values, this one says that these are top repeating values. Although for us it looks like same, but actually these values are, as you can see, they are so close to each other, obviously, and this looks like the background pixel. So these are the 20 closest values from 50 to somewhere around 80. So you can see that these are the top repeating values. So this is just I wanted to show you some steps that once we get the histogram, we can do whatever we want. We can sort them out, we can find the threshold value by looking at it, and even we can do something with the pixel values based on those histogram values. I hope this video will help you to better understand EmguCV CV and do more projects using EmguCV CV. Hope to see you in another video.